So it's 7 o'clock, so I'm going to get started. First, we should set our motivation for doing the practice today to read this text according to Geshe's wishes. So I'm just going to read the motivation that's on the first page of day 26. I'm going to listen to the King of Instructions called the Stage of the Path to Enlightenment so that I can train in Bodhichitta. So we're toward the beginning of day 26. In the section point 2, training the two types of bodhicitta, is on page 490 of the hard copy, where you see the root verse, regard phenomena as being like a dream. Okay. Letting some people in. So as I let people in, I'm going to share the screen so we can recite the.
Lamala, do you want me to let people in? If you make me a co-host, I'll let them in for you.
Let's see. Sure. Let's see. Okay, let me just take this out of the way. All right, let's see. I think I'll have to stop sharing. And let's see. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, thanks. I'll keep an eye.
Thank you. Let's see. Let me share the screen now. Okay, let's start with the Refuge and Bodhichitta prayer before the teaching. And often, like last week, Geshe started by reciting this prayer before he began teaching. So we may come back to this again. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Then the mandala offering. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. O holy and perfect pure Lama, from the clouds of compassion that form in the skies of your Dharmakaya wisdom, please release a rain of vast and profound Dharma, precisely in accordance with the needs of those to be trained. Idam Guru Ratamandalakam Niryatayami. Okay, so I'll start to the text again. So we're on day 26 again, in case you just joined us. Point 2, training the two types of bodhicitta, and we're the beginning of the root verses, starting with regard phenomena as being like a dream. Analyze the ultimate reality of unborn awareness. Even the antidote is liberated in its natural state, remain in the state of basis of all the nature of the path. The subsequent Kadampas combine this with the view of the previous Tibetan scholars. The Tog commentary and the Compendium Eloquence are great oral lineages that represent the tradition which accords with the view of the previous scholars. These systems of explanation are on the verge of being like the Chittamatra system. During meditation, you do not analyze anything whatsoever in the mind and just let it settle. Muju Gyaltse Togme Zampo also stated, the mode of existence of objects of knowledge is utterly not established, and whatever is apprehended is mistaken. Although the learned have a variety of different ways of reaching their conclusions, most of them end up leaning toward Haishang's Mahayana's views. Through the reasoning of persons who are great bodhisattvas, he used illogical reasoning that was influenced by valid teachings. Therefore, through this you should also understand the need to examine pure visions and phenomena. The words and meaning of this root verse of mind training say that the mind is without color, shape, and so forth, and is a vivid, empty state, which is the way of being deluded about emptiness. Furthermore, Haishang states that all external phenomena arise through the force of imprints on consciousness. Therefore, there are no external phenomena, and they are only mind. Nevertheless, with respect to the perception of solidity and hardness that is similar to being non-existent, these arise from powerful imprints. Previously, a girl in Varanasi meditated on her body as a tiger, whereby her body actually transformed into a tiger, and once she had eaten people there, the town became vacant. A bhikshu meditated on his body as a skeleton, whereby he actually turned into a skeleton, and so forth. There are other similar stories which show that all worlds and their beings, which are externally perceived objects, are like a dream. And other than mistaken appearances of the mind's nature, they are not separate from the mind. Thus, the mind of the apprehender does not exist anywhere inside or outside the body. It is free from arising, ceasing, and abiding. Ashan states that you place your mind in its true nature that is not truly established whatsoever. In fact, the external environment and internal living beings are like a dream and like an illusion. They do not have a truly established nature whatsoever. This is called resting the mind within the state of non-conceptuality that does not grasp anything. Although that is its meaning, it is observing the conventional nature of the mind. Therefore, when resting in the view of normal condition, the mind does not grasp at anything whatsoever. Therefore, this is equivalent to Haishang's view of nihilism, and it is the cause of going to hell and has thereby digressed into an erroneous path. If we explain it according to our own tradition, just as the externally apprehended entities contained within a pleasant dream are nothing other than mere appearances to the mind that do not have even an atom of true existence, and the phenomena contained with the internally apprehending consciousness are not inherently existent, so if we grasp by that emptiness with the absence of inherent existence as being truly established, our view has been incurable. Accordingly, the phrase, the emptiness of emptiness, is intended to assist you in ascertaining not only the ultimate nature of subject, but the fact that oneself as well is not truly existent. If you realize emptiness by coming to a definitive conclusion that way, you will attain nirvana. If you don't realize it, you will not overturn samsara. Therefore, emptiness is the basis of all of samsara and nirvana, which teaches both emptiness and dependent arising. The root text between sessions be a creator of illusions. During subsequent attainment, we should think of appearances being like illusions. Train the mind in conventional bodhicitta has 5 sections. 1. Meditation on equalizing self with others. 2. Contemplating the numerous faults of self-cherishing. 3. Contemplating the numerous benefits of cherishing others. 4. The actual contemplation of exchanging self with others. 5. How to meditate on giving and taking in dependence upon that. Meditation on equalizing self with others. Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life states, if I don't exchange my happiness for the suffering of others, I will not attain enlightenment. There won't be any happiness in samsara. Whoever wishes to quickly protect themselves and others should practice the holy secret of exchanging self with others. Thus, we should begin by meditating on equalizing self with others. Without meditating, equalizing self with others will not naturally arise in our minds of its own accord. Once we say I, we grasp at it and cherish it strongly, even with respect to something as insignificant as only having a single cup of tea. When we say others, we automatically abandon them. Therefore, we are unable to exchange self with others. For that reason, we must work hard to equalize self with others. Thus, from this moment onward, we should meditate by contemplating. From this moment on, I will not view myself as being precious and others as undesirable. Instead, I will consider how both I and others are equal in our desire for happiness, and also how we are equal in not wishing to suffer. Meditate on the equality of those two states of happiness and suffering for self and others by contemplating that there is no sense in making distinctions between good and bad by using the terms self and others. Contemplating the numerous faults of self-cherishing, Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life states, if whatever difficulties there are in the world, and however much fear and suffering there is, all come from grasping at self, what use is this great demon to me? However much unhappiness and suffering exists in the world, it all originates from self-cherishing. This is the origin of the disharmony between the kings and their subjects of this world, and the disharmony kings have among each other, as well as the disharmony that subjects have among each other. Likewise, the disharmony between ministers and servants, the disharmony ministers have among each other, the disharmony between patrons and ritualists, and the disharmony ritualists, gurus, disciples, parents and their children, and so on, have among each other are all due to self-cherishing. Even for most, the disharmony between teachers and students, among teachers themselves, among students themselves, among housemates, with the person sitting next to you in the prayer hall, and so forth, are due to self-cherishing. Whatever harms exist, such as the wars that break out between countries, lawsuits, and so on, all arise from self-cherishing. Not only that, but even though it is thieves, robbers, and so forth who accumulate wealth out of self-cherishing, it is their self-cherishing that should be accused of being the bandit. Even a cat or a mouse eating our meat, butter, and so forth are all an encounter with our self-cherishing. All the conditions for an untimely death, such as indigestion-related illnesses, poisonous concoctions, harm from fire, water, or wild animals, enemies stabbing us with weapons, or an animal being deprived of its life, right down to interruptions to our studies, are all actions are the karmic result of our self-cherishing. If we don't act on our self-cherishing, we will be able to bear it even if someone punches us in the head, in a way that is similar to what occurred in the following story. Previously, someone trespassed on the field of the daughter of a certain family by constructing a pathway, but it didn't upset her mind because she thought, when I am born in that place in my next life, I will be able to walk on it. Whereby she was able to bear it. Even harm from non-human beings comes from our self-cherishing. As it states, the arising of the enemy of superstitions is like a thief in an empty house. J. Milarepa's 100,000 Songs also states, if the evil spirit of superstitious thoughts does not arise, the obstacles of obstructing spirits will not enter. The yogi purifies his mental continuum within by possessing conduct that is not suspicious. Although we become angry at others for whatever unfortunate things befall us, such behavior is irrational. Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life states, whatever suffering there is in the world, all comes from the desire for our own happiness. Lama Chirpa states, seeing that this chronic disease of maintaining self-cherishing gives rise to all unwanting suffering, I seek your blessing to destroy this great demon of self-cherishing by despising it as the object of blame. The root verses of my training also state, drive all the blame on one. This is analogous to seeking the ringleader in a criminal court case. If we investigate the root cause of whatever misfortune comes our way, we will discover that it is self-cherishing and that there are no grounds for blaming others. For this reason, since self-cherishing is the source of the entirety of whatever awful things happen to us in this life and the next, we should view self-cherishing as our enemy. You should contemplate the extensive way of viewing this according to teachings presented in Mind Training, Rays of the Sun. Self-cherishing and abandoning others are like holding the sharp spear of wrong views, as well as like being the evil butcher who kills higher status and liberation. It is also like a thief carrying a bag of the 3 poisonous afflictions, which steals the crops of everything virtuous. It is also like the owl-headed creator of destruction, who brings the various things we don't want through accumulating the noxious substance of non-virtue within our hearts. This means that we accumulate the owl-headed noxious substances and then engage in rituals to destroy curses, while the curse is in the center of our hearts. Therefore, if we are going to cast spells, it should be directed toward this self-cherishing. This is also a shameless and cowardly mind that would even blame others, from our gurus down to our parents, to avoid a major loss for ourselves. This is also the harvester of suffering of the 12 dependent related links by planting the seeds of karma in the field of our consciousness. Although previously both we and our teacher were equally circling in samsara, our teacher embraced cherishing others, whereby he became the Buddha, through which he ripened and liberated numerous living beings. We embraced our self-cherishing, whereby even at this present moment we still dwell in samsara. This an act of laziness that stems from indolence is also due to self-cherishing. This is also the agent of covetousness that is constantly attached to samsara, despite the fact that nothing in samsara, such as our wealth and friends, has any essence. It is also the agent of our hopes and fears. It has hopes for things that are hopeless and worries about things that are not to be feared. In respect to this last metaphor, this is analogous to how we even worry about a pile of rocks when it is dark, or when we go for a walk at night, and how we have hopes of gaining a profit, even when buying meat with 1 silver coin. This is similar to a hunter who developed fear of Milarepa. Self-cherishing is also responsible for us freely expressing our afflictive emotions like a wild animal without a bridle, such as the competitiveness between higher and lower llamas, or a louse and a tiny bug, our jealousy and disparaging comments on up. This is also the agent of wrong views that are incomparable and contradictory. For instance, although we want to be happy, we don't create virtue, which is the cause of happiness. And although we don't want to suffer, we don't forsake the causes of suffering. Self-cherishing is also responsible for not seeing the faults that the afflictive emotions have caused since beginningless time into the present, even though we have led us to suffering, which is like being completely blind and eating dried food because we don't have eyes to see the food supply. Our self-cherishing is also like the ill omen of a blue-headed sparrow, which is a foreboding of all the harm that will come our way in this life and the next. We should sincerely apply ourselves to the means of overcoming our self-cherishing by contemplating its faults. According to the text, a blue-headed sparrow is a screech owl, and when one appears, it is a sign of impending inauspiciousness. Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life states, if you had formerly acted that way, such a condition as this, which is lacking the perfect bliss of a Buddha, could not have come into existence. We can determine that we would already be enlightened if we had been able to recognize ourselves as the enemy and had dedicated whatever we have done for the welfare of others. However, we currently remain enveloped in suffering, and the various adverse things that happen are the fault of embracing our self-cherishing in this life. Shopawa stated, at this very moment we should do whatever we can to tame the bewitching spirit in the short life. Langri Tangpa also stated, no matter how many profound texts I open, I can't find any that don't say that all faults are our own and all good qualities come from brother sentient beings. Their essential instructions are to offer all profit and victory to others and take all loss and defeat upon oneself. They don't have any other meaning. If we load all loss on others, we will definitely have to experience the results of that, which will be a great loss. A poem that I wrote myself states, accepting the burden upon myself is the way of great gain. Yet I load the loss upon others, whereby it will in turn descend upon me. Grant me your blessing that I may be able to take all loss upon myself. Dharmarakshita's mind training text, The Wheel of Sharp Weapons, states, when an unbearable illness occurs in my body, this is definitely the weapon of my evil deeds, returning to me for harming the bodies of living beings. Now I will take all illness upon myself. When suffering arises in my mind, this is definitely the weapon of my evil deeds, returning to me for disturbing the minds of others. Now I will take all suffering upon myself. The same reasoning can be applied to whatever happens to us. The Wheel of Sharp Weapons continues. Since that's the way things are, I have apprehended the enemy. I have apprehended the thief who ambushed and deceived me. The fraud who disguised myself as me and then deceived me. Emma, have no doubt that this is self-grasping. The savage calls bewitching self-grasping. Corner the Samaya breaker who brings ruin to self and other. Wrathful Yamantaka, summon him, beat him, and pierce the heart of the enemy self. Roar down upon the head of this ruinous conception and slaughter the heart of the butcher, the enemy self. Whom, great Ida, produce your miraculous emanation. Za, bind the enemy with an oath. Pepe, please liberate me from all bonds. According to the extensive explanations, although we are entreating wrathful actions, they should be directed toward our self-cherishing. If we kill dear mother living beings, it is like killing a corpse. Shantiveva also states in Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, those who have disregarded all suffering to destroy the enemies of anger and so on are conquerors and actual heroes. The rest are killing corpses. As it states, if we destroy the ultimate enemies, such as anger, we will gain victory over all three realms, whereby we become the ultimate heroes. The actions of the rest of them, such as assassins and so on, who are determined to kill others, such as humans, by stabbing them with their swords and so on, are no different than chopping up a corpse with a knife. The previous holy beings have said that when assassins' victims die, the assassins have not vanquished their enemies, but have actually killed their own parents. They have killed their deity and guru, and they have killed their wish-fulfilling jewel, and therefore such persons as assassins should not be called heroes. They should be called insane. The wrathful deities who have wrathful facial expressions with their mouths gaping and fangs bared are not angry at living beings. They are angry at the self-grasping and self-cherishing and the mental continuance of those living beings. The teachings in Dhammarakshita's Wheel of Sharp Weapons are only directed at the faults of self-cherishing. Therefore, it would be excellent if you were able to contemplate extensively the points presented in it. Previously, a Geshe from Dagpo established a tradition of reciting the Wheel of Sharp Weapons during group protector pujas, whereby an aura of great turbulence would arise, and he was henceforth called Lama Rinpoche. Those at the monastery said, previously we did not recognize our enemies with our incantations, so this type of turbulence did not arise. Once we recognized this enemy, turbulence emerged through our evocations. Previously, Drukpa Kunleg revealed to his younger brother, Drukchen Churgyal, his magical powers. He hung his robes on a sunray, which became workable, and Kunlegpa's bow, arrow, and knife became unworkable. Drukchen became violently ill, and although others performed longevity rituals for him, they did not help him. Therefore, they invited Kunleg, and he hurled a throwing Tarma into the lap of his younger brother, striking the illness, which was the conception of self-cherishing, and thereby dispelling his illness. The daughter of Machi Labdron and others stole the crow of a Ngagpa, so the Ngagpa used his powers and the others died. However, according to the teachings of Labdron, Labdron's daughter stated, the thief is self-cherishing, therefore may its power be placed upon me, and so forth. Having accomplished that, the power of the Ngagpa was unable to harm him. Trichen Tengpa Rapge stated, I offer this mountainous torma made of flesh and blood for the sake of pleasing oath-bound Dharma, Raja, and to be liberated from all the enemy conceptions of attachment to the essence of this life's appearances, as well as to destroy the massive heap of bones that are my negativities and downfalls. I offer this mountainous torma of conceptions, apprehended as suffering of attachments to the wealth of samsara, as happiness that resulted in all of the transgressions and downfalls of my three vows to the great kings of Vaishravana. Offer this ocean of completely pure nectar of lesser intention, as flesh, blood, and bones for the sake of generating delight and glorious six-armed Mahakala, and to be liberated from the enemy of self-cherishing. Please accept it. Having visualized the torma as the appearances of this life and so forth, you then offer it to the protectors of the beings of the three scopes. If such a thing occurs, it will be a very effective way to offer tormas. Therefore, it is a very special way of accomplishing the enlightened actions of the Dharma protectors. From this moment onward, we must cease the processes that bring about this evil mind of self-cherishing. Now, self-grasping is when I think I and cling to the fact that, from my own perspective, I exist and am self-sufficiently real. Self-cherishing is something conditioned by grasping at my existence and self-sufficient reality. It means cherishing myself and clinging to myself as something valuable. Therefore, the two are not synonymous, but they do accompany one another and function as obstacles to the correct view and to developing bodhicitta. That is why it is taught that the two seem to alternate. There is a verse from Lama Chirpa illustrating this point, which states, seeing that this chronic disease of maintaining self-cherishing gives rise to all unwanted suffering, I seek your blessing to destroy this great demon of self-cherishing by despising as the blame of object of blame, contemplating the numerous benefits of cherishing others. The root text states, meditate on the great kindness of all. Furthermore, we should contemplate the benefits of cherishing others. Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life states, whatever happiness there is in the world, all comes from cherishing for others to be happy. Lama Chirpa states, cherishing mother beings is the basis of all good qualities. All the prosperity and well-being that we currently enjoy, such as having obtained a human body of leisure endowment, a long life free of illness, abundant enjoyments, and so forth, are the good qualities of cherishing others. Accordingly, there is a verse from Nagarjuna's Special Garland quoted earlier that states, enjoyments come from generosity, happiness from moral discipline. Things such as generosity and moral discipline depend upon living beings as the objects of generosity. To practice moral discipline, you have to refrain from harming others, who are also the basis. Although we contemplate each of the sevenfold instructions of cause and effect in the same way, there is a great distinction between that and equalizing and exchanging self with others. Here we accept others as being worthy of being cherished. For example, just as we instinctively cherish the field that produces abundant crops in the fall, despite whatever hardships we may have to endure while working in a field. So we should think that whatever hardship we have to endure is for ourselves alone and not for the sake of the field. In the same way, we must rely upon the kindness of all living beings for whatever good things happen to us. I am able to wear my upper monk's shawl and dependence upon the kindness of numerous living beings. Even the fact that my bag of roasted barley is full depends upon the kindness of numerous living beings. The seeds were planted in the field, and everything that occurred from the time the field was plowed until the point where the roasted barley reached the inside of my barley pouch was all due to the kindness of living beings. Not only that, but just knowing how to eat roasted barley and butter mix is due to the kindness of living beings. Likewise, all the happiness and well-being that we have in this life, such as food, clothing, resources, including a place to live, were all produced through the great hardship of numerous living beings. Therefore, they came from their kindness. Although there are two instances when we contemplate the kindness of living beings, namely one, contemplating the kindness of living beings during the sevenfold instructions of cause and effect, and two, contemplating the kindness of living beings during equalizing, exchanging self with others in mind training, there is a great distinction between the two. Without even mentioning the happiness and well-being of this life, from an ultimate standpoint, there is the higher status of definite goodness. From the development of Bodhichitta up to the Bodhisattva's deeds and the attainment of enlightenment, all these come from the kindness of all living beings. Even the Buddhas become enlightened solely by relying upon living beings during the beginning, middle, and end. For that reason, Shantiveda's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life states, since living beings and Buddhas equally produce the Buddha's qualities, why would you not venerate living beings as you the conquerors? Geshe stated, the Dharma and the world are incompatible. It is not enough to merely avoid taking a wife. Between those who harm and those who help, worldly people choose those who help. We as Dharma practitioners, on the other hand, should like those who cause us harm. Likewise, we should cherish living beings more than Buddhas. The 8 verses of mind training state, with the intention to accomplish the supreme purpose, which surpasses even a wish-fulfilling jewel, in that regard, all living beings is extremely precious. Although we should cherish living beings more than a wish-fulfilling jewel, and regard them as our foundation for accomplishing all temporary and ultimate excellent accumulations, we instead revere our wallets. It is utterly stupid to abandon living beings. Although for the moment living beings are not acting as our mothers, we should contemplate the great kindness they extended to us when they were our mothers and offer them the profit and victory. This way of contemplating the great kindness of living beings, despite the fact that they are not currently acting as our mothers, greatly increases our affectionate love. In short, Shantiveda's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life states, what need is there for a lot of explanation? The childish work for their own welfare, and the Munis work for the welfare of others. Just look at the difference between these two. Lamrim states, in short, since the childish work for their own welfare, whereas the Buddhists work for the welfare of others, I seek your blessing to be able to realize the false inequalities and thereby exchange myself for others. We have experienced various sufferings since beginning this time, but in the end we haven't accomplished a single beneficial thing for our own welfare, and have instead distanced ourselves from the welfare of others. We must also experience the suffering in the lower realms, which is due to the activities of our self-cherishing. Therefore, once we see that self-cherishing is like a thieving dog, we should apply the methods to expel it. According to the Jakata tales, our teacher was previously reborn in house as the strongest chariot puller, a rabbit, a woodpecker, a turtle in the ocean, and so on, and also as King Bala Maitreya, Chandraprabha, Shirsena, Shiva Gyalpo, Sugna Norbu, Prince Ningpo Chempo, and so on. While our teacher, the powerful, able one, Munindra, was on the path of training, he abandoned all concern for himself and embraced cherishing others, and he underwent great hardships, such as offering his head, eyes, and even his life. Therefore, once we contemplate the way in which even enlightenment is a good quality of cherishing others, we should exchange self with others. The actual contemplation of exchanging self and others. The phrase exchanging self with others is not like thinking I am them and they are me. Lamrim states, since no one desires even the most subtle suffering or is even content with the happiness he has, there is no difference between myself and others. Saying this, I seek your blessings that I may delight in the happiness of others. Shantiveda's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life also states, thus for the sake of pacifying the harm to self and to pacify the suffering of others, I will give myself to others and regard others as I do myself. Until now we have regarded self as something to be cherished, yet this has produced great torment. We have forsaken others without giving them any consideration whatsoever. These two should change places so that from now on you should embrace cherishing others just as you previously cherished yourself, and and offer others the gain and victory. To the extent that your mind forsook others, it now forsakes yourself and takes the loss and defeat upon yourself. You meditate by repeatedly contemplating the faults of self-cherishing and the benefits of cherishing others. It will naturally bring strength to the mind for exchanging self with others. How to meditate on giving and taking and dependence upon that. For the sake of increasing the aforementioned contemplation on exchanging self with others, you engage in giving and taking to dispel obstacles and enhance your experience. The root verses state, train by alternating giving. Geshe is here.
Good evening. Good evening, Venerable Hamullah. Good evening, Bodhisattva Patrick. Good evening, Julie. Good evening, Nico. Good evening, Govinda. Good evening, David. Good evening, Mary. Good evening, Cameron. Good evening, Helen. Good evening, Renee. Good evening, Ryan.
Hey.
Good evening, Karen. Good evening, Elise. Good evening, Michael. Good evening, Pati, Panditji. Good evening, Domasi. Good evening, Tom. Good evening, Lee. Good evening, Neely Wong. I'm Felicia. So anybody watching YouTube, good evening. Welcome back to the class. Week from Wednesday, Ryan here, our friend, is going to have surgery. So I don't know exact time, but I will let you know. So we'll all pray for Ryan's surgery, successful surgery. Also, I asked my student back in the monastery to pray for Ryan's surgery, okay? Week for Wednesday. And then through the center, we will let you know exact time, okay? Ryan's all here. Then, Sanje Chonda Soje Chondamla, Chanjo Pando, Dani, Chanzo, Dagi, Chushi, Jibia, Sondamja, Dola, Pinja, Sanje. Sanje Chonda Soje Chondamla, Chanjo Pando, Dani, Dagi, Chushi, Jibia, Sondamja, Dola, Pinja, Sanje. Sanje Chonda Soje Chondamla, Chanjo Pando, Dani, Dagi, Chushi, Jibia, Sondamja, Dola, Pinja, Sanje. So, any questions?
No questions at this time, Geshe.
Oh, that's good news. Venerable Hamullah, how many pages?
I read 16 pages, Geshe.
Can you tell where you are?
We're on day 26. Lama Tsongkhapa talked a lot about self-cherishing with respect to giving and taking.
Oh,
So we're on a section that says how to meditate on giving and taking and dependence upon that.
mm.
It's in the section where he's quoting the root verse, training by alternating giving and taking.
Yeah, so then it looks like that we are in the section about Tonglen practice. I think a lot of people are aware about this practice. Tong means give or send. Len means take. You can alternate. Some people, I think, not a lot of people have problem giving. I mean, like not giving, taking part. Like emotionally. No, that's based on. There are people, some people who see things, hear things, and very much, as I say, it's kind of observe. Some people, it doesn't last very long, and their emotion doesn't really last long. They kind of tend to forget quite fast. Some people, it takes a long time to get out of their mind. I think there's a reason why there's taking part. For some people, it's hard. Here we are talking about emotional levels. When you're taking out of compassion. Therefore, that's why there's options. You can alternate, or you can just do one. Sending or giving out of loving kindness, taking out of compassion. So here, the key things is not taking on. You are the one who's doing the tolerant practice, but you are not taking on yourself. You are taking on self-cherishing mind, selfish mind, which cause so much complication, so much problem since from beginning this time till now. If we are not careful, if we 100% surrender ourselves and 100% devote ourselves to self-cherishing mind and resolve long-term, the result is not going to be a good one. Therefore, we are all trying hard to see the benefit of altruistic attitude of Bodhichitta, and very much hoping deep down from our heart that we could generate Bodhichitta, within this life. So then all the complication problem that associate causes by self-cherishing mind will be reduced or subdued or maybe eventually eliminated. So when you are taking other people problems based on Tonglen practice, out of compassion, you are not taking on yourself. Then sometimes people tend to misunderstand. So it's not taking on yourself. You are taking on your self-chasing mind. It's all done in mind. So then self-chasing mind get destroyed. Then you'll be free from the self-chasing mind. At the same time, all the problems, complications that comes with the self-chasing mind will be over. So that's all I do. So the Tonglen practice can be combined with the breathing meditations. And like a 7-point mind text, the root text, Tonglen Nibu Pemajang, Tong giving, land taking. Pemajang is alternate. There's no a definite order you could do. There's no definite order you can do. You can alternate them. So then, Penjan Lobsa Chujin, one of the famous Tibetan lamas, in Guru Puja, Tonglen Lungla Chube, Tundeches, Tonglen Lungla Chube, Tundeches. So Tonglen can be practiced based on a breathing meditation. Inhale out of compassion, exhale out of loving kindness. So that you can also do that too, okay? That's the Tonglen Nibu Pemaja the shit. Tongango to Sunja, La Lenji said, Tongango to Sunja, La Lenji says, the Majudu de Muladan Sumbata, Sumbata, Lambanga, Tonganjis. Sometimes people do taking part first, then giving pass, second, alternate. So, Lamula, you said that we start with this root text.
The root text trained by alternating giving and taking.
Okay, we are there. We are there.
Well, we haven't started there. We're in that section, but I haven't started it yet.
So then how's like number 5, how to meditate on Tonglen? You started that? Already started that?
Yes, the actual contemplation of exchanging self and others with others. We did that section.
How's about number 5? How to meditate on Tonglen?
I think that's when we're starting.
Okay, we are going to start from there. Okay. Ngaba tela je tong. Ngaba tela je Tonglen gumsus. Tonglen gumsus. As you know, so there's like 2 different quintessential instructions coming from Shakyamuni Buddha. All the way, Lama Atisha possess both lineage. So the one is 7 cause and 1 result. One is like exchanging oneself with others. Either one of those instructions, if you meditate or if you practice, you can develop Bodhichitta, either one of those instructions. So, I think exchanging one with the self, if you practice that instructions, is like almost like same as like practicing both lineage. But practicing 6 cause and 1 result, that's not similar to practicing both instructions. But exchanging oneself with other, meditating on that, practicing that is like equal as practicing both instructions. That's for the sake of knowledge, or just to good to remember that. Don't let you, how to meditate on Tonglen practice or how to practice Tonglen, pretty much same. Dashin jeve samba de kombe do chashi kekse bokjes. Dashin jeve samba, so exchanging practice of exchanging oneself with other in order to make that practice, exchanging oneself with other, make that practice more powerful or more real and with some kind of test. Somebody compared to churches, there are obstacles that the practitioner might face, or there's obstacles, obstacle. Bok de means cake usually means obstacle. Bok de means like bok is the word. De is like how you say like improvement. 다시 이제 삼바 콤베도 차지 차 콤베도 차지 객세 보드 더부 동네jes. The Tonglen practice will take care. Tonglen meditation, Tonglen practice. Why you do that right after exchanging oneself with other practice? Because Tonglen practice, the very reason that you do Tonglen practice right after that is like to eliminate any obstacles in order to practice successfully, exchanging oneself with other, removing obstacles, and also not just that, also to improve the qualities of exchanging oneself with other, the practice of exchanging oneself with other, improve that practice, make it more deeper. Also, that's why you practice. Tonglen practice supposed to help you to do that. Okay, that's what it says. So now the root text, you can alternate, giving and taking alternate. That's what root text is. Even though giving part has been said, explained in the fast, but in practical level, so now again the Lama is quoting from Guru Puja, Lamrim part of the Guru Puja, which is composed by Penchen Lobsa Chuji Janse. I think it's the fourth Penchen Lama, fourth Penchen Lama. So all the practice that you see in the Guru Puja is very much hidden from the public view. It's orally transmitted. Till Penchen Lobsa Chuji's generations, before that, there's no books. It's orally transmitted. There's no books to read. So Penchen Lobsa Chuji felt it will be great lost if you don't write it down. So Penchen, because of the kindness, the Penchen Lobsa Chuji, fourth Penchen Lama. So now we have this entire kind of like Guru Yoga practice. Based on Jawa Wensawa lineage. Lama Choba is based on Jawa Wensawa lineage. So then 100 deity yoga practice. There's another form of Guru Yoga practice that's based on Siju lineage. There's two different lineages. So anyway, Penchen Lobsa Chuji Janse put it in the book. So now, therefore, we can study, we can practice. So in that Guru Puja, Lamrim sessions, the Tonglen part, I think before the 6 professions. So according to that text, so taking part is first. So then giving part is second. So, generally speaking, giving part has been explained first, but in practical level, we can alternate. When it's come down on practice, we can alternate. No, that's what is happening here. Only one line has been said, but there's actually a 4 line. So if you want, you can chant that, that beautiful chant. You can chant in Tibetan, I'm not sure in English, you can chant. So when you chant, why you chant? When you chant, you extend the word. Why you do that? It gives you time to meditate. That's all. It gives you time to meditate when you stretch the word. So there's enough time to think about the meaning. So then it becomes meditation. It becomes meditations. That's the reason you chant, okay? One word, but actually there's one stanza. Shiso tarje, lembongo da toa jisu, cheba mengai. So there's also kind of like instructions. Or taking part first, then giving part second. Lamrim chi chebu chimbu yongi chambe kap chinjini kap chinjini ji chyo samje. Kansa da lamrim chi chebu chimbu yongi chambe kap chinjini chyo samje. So then Lamrim has three sections: small scope, middle scope, the great scope. A section in the great scope where Lamrim talks about Yunga Chamba. There's like a section on one cause and six result, or one result and six cause, how to develop bodhicitta, and that part. So there talks about meditate means think about, meditate means think about. Meditation is thinking, that's all, nothing more, nothing less. It's not different. Meditation means thinking. Of course, not any kind of thinking. We think all kinds of things, but positive thinking, not just any thinking like, I don't think thinking about cheesecake, I think it's not meditation. The very meaning of meditation is to reduce, subdue disturbing thought. Power of meditation is to subdue disturbing thought, increase positive thought. That is meditations. Whether you do that by sitting, walking, cleaning, cooking, biking, climbing, doesn't matter. Okay, that's the meditations. So then certain meditations, single point meditation does require sitting, because when you physically move, you get distracted. So you can't focus. Any form of single point meditation does require sitting. And sitting properly, proper sitting probably will have more benefit for your meditations. So not any form of meditation requires sitting. Like review meditation can be done by walking, analytical meditation can be done with walking, biking, swimming, whatever. So eating, sleeping. So, but single point meditation does require sitting. Okay. So the power of meditation is to subdue disturbing thought. That's all. Oh, that's very important to remember. Reading about teachings or studying teachings. Power of studying teaching is to have calm mind, peaceful mind. That's the purpose of it's not just to become scholar. That's the power. Oh, yeah. So, or think about the downside of self-cherishing. Think about the benefit of cherishing others. So that's what is in the Lamrim in the great scope sections. Chambe mi basal to tene tongagum so ma to the samje chamba da ningje tedo tonglen das. Chamba da ningje tedo tonglen das. So in the sections there's 6 cause and 1 results. That within that instructions there are compassion, loving kindness, already part of that instructions. is the part of the 6 causes. So within the 6 causes, there's a loving kindness, there's a compassion. It's already part of the instructions. Chamba da ninja te the tonle does. And where there, if you are meditating on the one result, 6 causes and 1 result, how to develop bodhichitta, you are meditating on that. When you reach on loving compassion, you can do taking part of the tonle practice. The next one, loving kindness, you can combine the instructions with tonle practice. Okay, that's what it says. Lama says here. Chamba the needs of tonle draja. Yunde menga dunji ninje dir tana ninje nga leja shuta wa chesa. Yunde menga dunji ninje dir tana ninje meba tsatu tene lamba che. Oh, like the taking part is done out of compassion, giving part is done out of loving kindness or meditate. Teya masimje namje dunga midje chance. Dunga ji ju development. So now here, teya masimje nams, all mother-centered beings, they don't want problem, they don't want complications, but they don't know how to stop the cause of problem and complications. They don't know how to stop the cause of complication and problem and sufferings. So that reminds me, like quotation from Shantideva's text, Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life. Dunga tordu simi chance. We have a mind. What Shantideva said, we have a mind that does not wish problem complications. We all do, regardless, monks, nuns, Tibetan, American, we all have that desire. We all have that kind of mind. We all have mind that does not wish any problem, any complications. We all have that. So we need to admit that we have that. We can't pretend that you are free from that. So there's not here. I'm just it just kind of reminds me. Dunga tordu simi dunga nila ngomba jus. Even though you have mind that does not wish on any of those problem, complications, difficulties, but Shantideva says it looks like that you are deliberately going for that. That says something. It is kind of heavy. This word has weight, a lot of weight. So now you rethink, when you read that statement from Shantideva, Dunga Todu Simija, Dunga Nila Ngomboju. When you ask yourself, do you have a desire to overcome from problem, complications, suffering? Yes. Answer is pretty clear. You don't need to think. You don't need to think twice. You can say yes. Now the second part get more complicated. Dunga Todu Simija, Dunga Nila Ngomboju. Looks like that you're deliberately going for problem, complications, suffering, difficulties. So now you think, your answer will be no, I'm not. You say, I'm not deliberately going for problem, difficulties, suffering. Yeah, the answer will be no. So now, then what Master Shantideva was trying to say? Something is going wrong here. So, what kind of wish you have? Wish to free from problems, complicated suffering. That's the kind of wish we all have. Second line is, I don't go deliberately for suffering. That's our answer. So now maybe second part of the second line, you still don't understand what it really means. What it means. So now you analyze. So then another statement from Shantideva, chapter number 6, God Bodhichitta way of life. Midye chedang deba is keje pale junchuba. Imi deve se ni shendang te de da jumsus. Midye chedang deba is we have two types of desire. Desire to want something, desire to don't want something. We have two types of desire. Midye chedang deba is we have two types of desire related to the five objects. Shape, color, form, sound, smell, taste, something we touch. These are the five objects. This is the only five objects we get. A lot of stress, we get a lot of, we get, like a fair level of, pleasures. Then there's five objects. So that's where we are drawn to, five objects. There's nothing out of that besides the five objects. There's nothing. Everything that we are desired for is related to five objects. So we have two types of the midye, and the midye means desire for not wanting something, desire to wanting something. There's two types of desire. Everybody has. You are not only one. Everybody has. So then, some kind of interruption is taking place for the desire. Meditation, then you become unhappy. Not just you, everybody. So now, whenever there's like some kind of interruption or obstacles taking place, what kind of method we use to overcome? We scream, we shout, what else? We kick on the door, the door is not going to hurt, your feet is going to hurt, bang our head on somewhere. We do all kinds of things. So that's why Shantideva was, I think the second line, Shantideva was saying, method that we choose to overcome from problem is wrong one, it's the mistaken one. That's why now the second line made a little bit sense. Now that's why I'm saying, looks like, sounds like you're going deliberately for the problems, even though you have wished to you wish to overcome from that, but looks like you are going deliberately going for that. That's very true. That's very true. So like every day. You're sitting in your home, maybe hoping to have some quiet time. Suddenly there's boys comes, 12-year-old boy comes. Like there's not much common interest between you and that boy. The interest doesn't match quite well. Things the boy does, all the children does, they usually normally you don't have interest. So if anybody does that, anybody does something that you are not interested, if we don't think carefully, we become unhappy. Then what we do, maybe, verbally what we do, shout, scream. Also driven by thought, the disturbing thought. You are thought, when you are unhappy, that your thought has been disturbed. So then after that, guilt, regret, so then the amount of stress, like worry about, there are all kinds of things like the best. In the circumstance, best thing is the compassion. Loving kindness, compassion, any circumstance. So the compassion will eliminate all the stress and anxiety and fear if you just focus on compassion, so then it doesn't bother. So like otherwise situation, your mind, your mental creation, your mind can create. Even the situation is not that serious, but your mind can create the situations so serious, and then everybody will be unhappy. You can make big deal out of something very small. It's actually not that big deal, but your mind creates, make it like big deal, and everybody will be. So, yeah, all those circumstances, the compassion is the best. Compassion is the best. So then sometimes it helps, like if you remind yourself, you are someone who's very much inspired by Bodhichitta. You just talk to yourself. You have to talk to yourself. You are someone who's inspired by Bodhichitta. How come that you are not able to tolerate that little noise, or the children breaks glass? Why you make big deal out of that? It's like things breaks. It's not like things never break. Your mind creates, that thing should not be break. That's you are going against the reality. Things do break. And when you make big deal out of that, things doesn't come back, it's already broke. So it's not going to change, because this is mental creation. So then you remind yourself, maybe before you talk, before you react, just sit back, breathe. This is the opportunity to now show some actions. Action of compassion, action of loving kindness, action of Bodhichitta. This is the perfect opportunity to show if you have something. This is the time to show. To protect yourself, protect that children's happiness. This is the time to show. So then you think, so if you are very much inspired by Bodhichitta, you can tell yourself you are very much inspired by Bodhichitta. So how come that you can? What is Bodhichitta? It's the kind of wish, so much courage, so much like a very strong desire and so much courage. You feel like, even though there's the courage, what is the Bodhichitta? Bodhichitta, once we have Bodhichitta, so very mind that you are very much inspired. Once you develop the Bodhichitta, you gain so much courage, you are ready to live eons in the fire pit. Eons, not just talking about 1 day, 1 month, 1 year, eons. To help one being, just help one sentient being. Doesn't say 100,000, it's just one sentient being. When you think about that, it helps. Wow, that's the kind of courage I would really like to have. So compared to that kind of courage that you are very much inspired, this situation becomes nothing. So your mind is not going to exaggerate the situations. You see, we don't participate somebody else's enjoyment. We get jealous. We don't participate. We don't engage other people's happiness. We get jealous. We question why you're so happy all of a sudden. Are you drunk? So we don't participate. We need to learn how to share happiness. Doesn't have to be your happiness. It can be someone else's happiness. You can share. So is that easy? No, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's a piece of cake. It requires mindfulness. You have to remind yourself. You have to remind yourself. It's not going to be automatic. Eventually, it's going to be easier. It's going to be easier and easier. It's not going to be automatic. And first, you need to be mindful. If you really care about yourself, if you really love yourself, if you have compassion to yourself, that's exactly what we should do. So then you are not just saying, you are showing some actions that you care about yourself, that you love yourself, because you are protecting basically your mind, mental happiness, that's all. So that's what Bodhichitta is all about. Number-wise, you are just one. Others, limitless. There is opportunity, you could get limitless happiness if you choose to do. There's no shortage of objects. There's objects everywhere. It's not short of object. Mind is already here. Precious life is already here. Just need to put some effort. That's all. So, if you just think about yourself, if you only think about yourself, if you only think about your own happiness, it's not good. It's problem. It's problem. I'm not sure. The question is it easier to get happiness thinking about yourself, or is it easier to get happiness thinking of other people? You just ask yourself these questions. We are having a hard time just remembering our life is precious. We are having a hard time simply remembering the life that we possess is precious. We have to remind ourselves every day, every single day. Even then, not easy. So now the question is, how much happiness you gain just talking to yourself, thinking about yourself, only thinking about yourself, how much happiness you get, how much physical happiness you get, and how much mental happiness you get. So then think like that, So I'm not saying it's easy, but it's very possible. It's very possible. We need to dedicate ourselves and remind ourselves, importance of Bodhichitta. So then you see, when there's a couple of people, when the couple of people come to your house, they don't have same mind as you do. Everyone has different mind. Everybody has different interests. There's also opportunities. You could gain something, make people happy. There's also great risk. You may not like somebody says something about something. There's also great risk that you may lose your peace of mind through the conversations about different topic. Or somebody says something, you feel like to fix them. Actually, it's not that important to fix. So unless they're creating negative karma. So we are very quick to judge, quick to fix. There's so much to fix here that we are not fixing. We are quick to fix somebody else. And sometimes we can't fix because it's complicated. It's all complicated. You can fix. So forgiveness, all of that requires some deep understanding. You can't just forget someone easily. It requires some deeper understanding. If you have deeper understanding of Bodhichitta, it will help you to forgive someone quite easily. It's not that easy. It has the forgiveness is easy to say, but it's not that easy to practical level is not that easy. Forgiveness, all of that. Forgiving yourself, lack of, understanding of, there's something that you can purify. There's many knowledge, deeper understanding needed in order to shape this life. Within the samsara, shape this life, need deeper understanding. So maybe deep thinking, something about. Sorry, what is it? I'm not sure what I'm talking about. So the point is here, every day, opportunities. Risk is there all the time. Opportunity is there all the time. And mind is here all the time. So the risk to lose something every day, that's real. There's something to gain every day, that's real. There's opportunity there's many risks that you may become negative. So that's why I'm saying thinking about the downside of, cherishing. Here now, selfish, should and must have negative meaning. Or taking shower, I need my body, I'm starting to smell. Is that selfish? We are not talking about that kind of selfish. You have to take care of yourself. Not that, I need to treat myself, or maybe I go to get Starbucks coffee. Is that selfish? We are not talking that selfish. What we are talking about, what kind of selfish we are talking about is only thinking about yourself, even though you have children, husband, family, you are only thinking about yourself. You cannot survive happily in this universe if you're only thinking about yourself. How you can survive happily? No. People don't appreciate that only you are always thinking about only over yourself. No, you just want to get, that's all. You don't want to give anything, you just want to get much as possible. Eventually people will realize, that you are that kind of person, then people don't want to be around. So that's the truth. There's nothing to do with religion. That's the truth. So that's why I need to meditate. We are thinking about this Rang Jinzi, in Tibetan word, Rang Jinzi. It has negative connotations. It's not like loving yourself or bad. It's not about that. Treating yourself something good. It's not talking about that. Rang Jinzi, it has negative connotations. Rang Jinzi means you don't care. You don't care about other people's happiness at all. So that's Rang Jinzi. You don't care about other people's happiness at all. You only care about your happiness. That kind of attitude brings you a lot of problems, So especially when you go to a group of people, they will find out eventually, okay, this. So make sure that we don't misunderstand, okay? 심지어 관계 있는 동아신네가 두배에서 동아신네가 두배 다기 디는지 동아렘바 차원은 심지어는 동아 또 동아기 주 디바서 you are thinking that what kind of things makes people unhappy. You are thinking about that. What kind of things that makes people unhappy? The three draw. We think this thinking could be noble or could be evil or very disturbing. There's no guarantee. That's why we have to hope. We can't just hope with every thought that pops up is going to be noble. It's not going to be like that. You have to work for that. Not going to like every thought that pops up it's going to be noble. So that's not the case. We have to work for that. There's a one draw, then they're here. We say things. And we physically do things. That's called three draw. Gosum, three draws. We could say body, speech, and mind, or you could say three draw. What kind of things make people unhappy? You could make somebody unhappy saying something easily. But before you say, probably you are thinking, before it manifests into word or physical actions, first it happens here. If you can catch it right away, if you can catch that right away, before it manifests into word or physical actions, you could catch, and you could eliminate it right there. So what kind of things that makes me unhappy? What kind of things makes me unhappy? Same things make other people unhappy. It's the same thing. When other people are not happy, so it's hard to have your own happiness. Isn't that true? When people around you, if they are not happy, it's hard to be happy. You yourself, it's hard to be happy too, because we feel things, we sense, we feel. We are not made out of a piece of rock. We feel things. So that's why. So that's what you think of, what kind of things make other people unhappy. So then you try very hard not to do those things. Sake of your own happiness. Protection of your peace of mind. Yeah, of course, Bodhichitta is about you. Enlightenment is about you. It's about you. You are doing something for your happiness, and you are doing something for your enlightenment. Of course, indirectly, other people benefit. When other people benefit, you get more benefit. If other people become more happier, then you get also happier too. So, what time is it now? Okay, a few minutes. What kind of things makes other people unhappy, suffering, problem, complication? That's the fact, something to think about. Therefore, so that's why you think, okay, maybe now I will auto-compassion, I will take the problem and the cause of problems or complications. Probably you know. So there's like the blade, when they shave your head with the blade, not machines, blade. But now you have machines. You see the bundle of hair comes down. I have a lot of experience. You don't have experience. I'm fully qualified to talk. Talk about shaving hair. I'm fully qualified to talk. So you shave just like bundle of, almost like that. That's just analogy they use here, like that, taking out of compassion other people's problem and the cause of problem like that. Where you're taking on Rang Jinzi means selfish mind. Rang Jinzi, selfish mind. What is that? That has to have negative conditions. You don't care about other people's happiness at all. You only think about yourself. That kind of attitude needs to go. otherwise there will be no real happiness. That attitude needs to, sooner or later, that attitude needs to be gone. Need to go. So you take on that, imagine that attitude dismantle and disappear from your life. Like that. But you are the one who's doing it, but you are not taking on yourself. You are taking on that attitude that has been caused so much problems in the beginning, in the life before this, still causing so much problems. So that attitude needs to go. Long as we remain the slave of this attitude, there will be no real happiness, mental happiness. Something to think about, okay? Then Simjin Dinam Doba Dewa Deja, Deveju Dumi, Deveju Gewami Dupi. So everybody wants happiness. Everybody wants happiness. Why everybody is not happy? Not everybody wants happiness. Happiness. Everybody wants to be happy. Then question is why? Why not we are all happy all the time? Why not? Because we have desire, we want to be happy all the time. Why not? Why not that we are not happy? Trying to analyze why you are not happy. No need to go to fortune teller to tell us why you are not happy. So you just analyze why you are not happy when something happens. Somebody says something, you hold it on so tightly, not able to let it go, and like meditate on that again. That's why you are not happy. You just need to let it go. Or we don't hang very so tightly, somebody did something very good, we only hold there, then finish, then we forget. We tend to hold so tightly on something negative. Why? Maybe ignorance. Sorry to say, but ignorance, sorry to say. Simje dinam dewa dejan deveju gewamitus. Yeah, one happiness, but we don't create the cause for happiness. We don't create the cause for happiness. What do you mean create the cause for happiness? What I mean, what Lama Atisha means, what Lama Tsongkhapa means, what Shantideva means, three draw. There's three draw you could create the cause for happiness. What is the cause for happiness? Just having a wish. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee because simply you have wish. Everybody has wish. Then why not we are happy all the time? Big questions. The cause of happiness has to create. Happiness has to create. Simje kangi pena deve pemba dube dagi degetans. Longje tanje tonga chao nyam songs. Now talking about what they want happiness. So you offer your happiness. If you have one, you can offer. If you have one, you can offer. No? So you could say, oh, I get joy during this practice. I'm kind of happy. I'm just happy because I'm doing this practice. So you could give that happy. You could offer that happiness to all living that you wish. May every being enjoy this level of happiness by doing this practice. So there's Tondan practice. Okay? Then you could doesn't have to be practice, but for the practice, the happiness that's generated by practice is a little bit heavier, deeper. Of course, we could get physical form, shape, color, sound, smell, taste, tactile. We can offer that too. We can offer that. Oh, okay. So the new. So when you read the sixth profession taught in Guru Puja, the profession of generosity, very beautifully worded there, you know. Le dan longje, tizung gezo ches. Le dan longje. So even though you need to repeat 3-4 times, why you repeat things? Why you repeat? Or that doesn't mean you don't understand. You do understand, then why you repeat? It's not getting here. It's just here. It's not getting here. It's not going down. It's here. Doesn't change. So why you repeat? You're hoping it will go down here. Then you feel something. It's not just here, you know. That's why you repeat. Or maybe it's tradition. Or maybe then you say, in the Western world, you say, why you repeat? Because you already understand. There's nothing to understand something new. It's not about understanding something new. It's about feeling. No, there's no USB code. How is the USB? Computer is here. Hard drive is here. There's no connections. There's not connecting. It's going from here. Even though if you need to repeat, please do. Just to feel something. Don't expect to feel huge. Something that is not something. It is huge. No. Don't expect something huge. Just to feel something that is not just something. It is huge. Without attachment. What is said in here in the West, without string attached, pure gift, just pure gift. Not because they are my friend, close relative, nothing to do with that. We just want to give, that's all. No, there's no expect, hard to do, but you know, if you need to repeat a few times, it's worth it, it's worth it, it's worth it. Feeling something, don't say, oh, this small. No, it's not small, it is huge. It's not small, it's huge. No. So there's no, then there, Guru Puja, no, Pinjananda Chuchi worded very beautifully. Ludan Longje, Tuzumki, Ludan Longje, body, possession. Tuzumki, so 3 times merit. 3 times nice word you said last year. You said somebody, you said very nice word. You send beautiful card. That too. You make phone call, comfort someone. That count. That too. Doesn't have to be always like reciting mantra. You know, that count. Last time you went there to give blood. That too. You know, 3 times positive actions. 3 times positive actions: mental, physical, verbal. Body, possession, 3 times positive action. You transform. You transform whatever they need. That you have 3 times marriage, your body, your possession, appear as that. No. Now you see why you're getting mental happiness, because this all noble thought. You're going through noble thought one by one. That's why you feel something, joy here, reason. No? So bless me to complete the perfection of generative practice by thinking like that. Something, okay? Oh yeah, so good news that we all can do. We all can do. That's the good news. It's not like something we cannot do. There's something we can do. Then, you know, yeah, so now time is over, sorry, so took a long time. So only 2 lines. Thank you very much for coming to the class. And next Wednesday, I will offer you some time to ask questions. So next Wednesday, so we will, if you have questions, so then begin the class we discuss. So. Then, meanwhile, every day something, every day something. Make sure they're well doesn't get completely dry out. Even though you can pour whole glass, even just one drop, then there's one drop there. So the drop by drop, that well is not going to be empty. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. So Alhamdulillah will do dedications, and all of you have a wonderful night, and see you next Wednesday.
Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may we quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel Bodhichitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, we too dedicate all these merits in the best way that we may follow their perfect example. We dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praises the best by the victorious ones thus gone of the 3 times, so we might perform good works. We dedicate whatever virtues we have ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of perfect pure Losangdrapa forever. Long life prayers, first for His Holiness, in the land circle by Snow Mountains. You are the source of all happiness and good, all powerful Tenzin Gyatso. Please remain until samsara ends, and the one for Serajik Kitso Rinpoche Jetsun Losang, the one who mastered his speech at a very young age, the one with great patience who received the name Amatare, the one with great precision who spread the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa on bliss and void, Lama ornament of the yellow hat tradition. Please remain until samsara ends. And then the long life prayer for Zamazon Rinpoche. The subduers more away, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers honoring the 3 jewels. Save myself and others, your disciples, please live long. Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-objectifying compassion, master of stainless wisdom, Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snows, Losangdrapa, at your feet I make requests, and then 7 Tara mantras for Geshe Gelek and Geshe Sample's long, healthy. Tare tu re so ha. 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 Tare tu re so ha.
Oh yeah, thank you again. Have a wonderful night, and see you next Wednesday. Okay.
Good night, guys.
Yes, sir. Good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Geshe-la.
Bye.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you. Thank you, Venerable.